Now we're going to move forward to the election of 1860, right? In 1860, the Republican Party chooses Lincoln as their standard bearer, and the his again, the Republicans stand for no expansion of slavery. Okay, now we'll just leave it at that for now. We'll talk more about it next on Wednesday. But at any rate, in 1860, the Lincoln and the Republicans run on the issue of no expansion of slavery. The Democratic Party divides essentially into three different parties: the Northern Democrats, Southern Democrats. There's actually two Democratic Party conventions. And then there's another party that forms called the Constitutional Union Party, which essentially just means Tennessee and Kentucky and Virginia, right? And so out of all that, because the opposition to the Republicans is so divided, Republican Party wins, right? But keep in mind that the Republican Party isn't even on the ballot in the South, right? So now if you're living in the South and your big issue is the expansion of slavery, right? And you see the federal interest in slavery as being against the Constitution, and now you see somebody who actually stands for limiting the expansion of slavery elected to the presidency with no votes from the South. What does that make you think about being from the South? How much influence do you actually have now in the national government?
None.
None. And so from that point of view, then they say, well, if we don't have any influence at all in the national government, there's no point in us even being in the government. You guys follow what I'm saying? And so then states start to secede from the Union. Which state do you think is the first one to secede?
South Carolina.
Which one?
South Carolina.
South Carolina, exactly. And why is that? Because you can't go any further south than South Carolina in terms of the issues of the Civil War, right? So anyway, before Lincoln is inaugurated, keep in mind that inauguration happened in March then, not in January, right? But before Lincoln is inaugurated, 7 states are already going to have seceded from the South, okay? And I'm not sure it's going to be North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess it's not North Carolina, but anyway, Texas was one of them. At any rate, the South has already seceded. They've passed ordinances of secession, okay? And I'm going to post the document here for you that you can look at. What you'll notice in the ordinance of secession is that they almost all state as their reason for secession states' rights. But they also pretty specifically mention that the right that they are defending is the right to own people as property, right? So there's a kind of a trope, I guess, that you can say has come about in the 20th century about the Civil War not really being about slavery, but really being about states' rights, right? And you can say that, but you can't say states' rights without saying slavery, because that's the right that they were defending. And they said it themselves, out loud, openly in their ordinances, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'll give you a document you guys can read, and then you can comment on that, all right? And so let's just say right now, states have already started to secede, but there are still efforts in Congress to try to come up with a compromise to keep the states in the Union, okay? So we'll just leave it right there. And then Wednesday we'll come back and we'll pick it up with the Civil War, all right? Questions, comments about any of this?